Man of the ages. 64 years ago, he broke baseball's color barrier and paved the way for future greats like Frank White, who won the Jackie Robinson Lifetime Achievement Award earlier today. Royals baseball on Jackie Robinson Day is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. And with it being Jackie Robinson Day, players all throughout baseball will be wearing a retired number, Jackie Robinson's number 42. Here in Kansas City tonight, it's the Royals hosting the Seattle Mariners. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefevre with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. And baseball has always been a great game, but it really wasn't truly America's pastime until 1947, when Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, which meant players from the Negro Leagues could be in the major leagues, as they should have many years prior to that. But Frank, even today, what does that number 42 and Jackie Robinson mean to you?
Well, Ryan, it means a lot to all minorities. He set the stage for all minorities to participate at the highest level, not just in baseball, but in sports in general. But what he did in Major League Baseball, he just leveled the playing field. He made it where the best players could play. And I think Jackie Robinson is a true pioneer, a role model, and a hero.
All right, how about for you earlier today? What a thrill to be honored by the Negro League Baseball Museum as winning the Jackie Robinson Lifetime Achievement Award.
Well, Ryan, I tell you, with great humility, I accepted that award. I mean, when you look at the list of recipients before me, all you can do is just your jaw drops, because it's just amazing the people that you're in with. And I just think that when it was presented to me, I just felt like, man, this is something I just do normally and naturally. And when you're recognized for it, you feel very special.
Great names there, and I'm sure one that stands out for you is the second honoree, Frank Robinson, who also wore number 20, and that was Frank's favorite player when he was growing up. So we hope you enjoy the game tonight. Jackie Robinson Day with the Royals and the Mariners, and we'll talk more about tonight's matchup when we come back. by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. Let's take a look at the Royals' RBI board through the first 12 games. And what stands out, Frank, is that of the 13 hitters, 10 have between 5 and 9 RBIs. So that means there isn't one guy the Royals are leaning on.
And that is good. I mean, when the manager looks at this lineup and look at the RBI column, then he feels like everybody's spreading this out, then that gives him a better chance to win the game.
On the mound for the Royals tonight is Luke Hochevar. He's coming off his first win of the year.
Well, Luke made some adjustments with more breaking balls against a very aggressive Tiger team. So it's going to be real interesting to see how he approaches the Seattle Mariners tonight.
Tigers lineup had a lot of power. You can't say the same thing about Seattle's batting order, which is presented by Southwest Airlines. In fact, their team batting average went down last night after scoring just 1 run. They're hitting .218 as a team. And back in the lineup tonight is their new designated hitter, Jack Cuss, but he's only off to a 175 start. Pitching and defense go together. The Royals got a great outing from Bruce Chen last night, and behind him, excellent defense. The play of the game made by Melky Cabrera in the second inning. It's the Royals and the Mariners, and the first pitch is next. Kauffman Stadium in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Out to right field, and let's welcome in Joe Goldberg.
All right, Ryan, had a chance to talk with Matt Trainer today. 4th time that he has caught Luke Hochevar. He said last time you guys talked about a lot of breaking balls, aggressive fastball hitting team in Detroit. They had to pitch backwards. Today, maybe a little bit more traditional, looking at more fastballs, get ahead in the count, stay ahead in the count. We'll see what happens here tonight. Guys, it's cold out here.
Yes, it is. And Luke Hochevar, as you described, Joel, begins the game with a fastball to Ichiro Suzuki, who had 2 hits last night, getting his average up to 264. It was the 9th consecutive multi-hit game for Ichiro Suzuki here at Kauffman Stadium. That ties George Brett for the stadium record. George had his back in 1979, and that's driven past Keela and up the right field line. So Suzuki has one of the hits out of the way. He'll stop at second base with the double.
He fall behind 2-0, and Ichiro gets a little bit better hitter. That's when he literally looks to turn on the pitch, and he turns on this ball right inside the first baseline. You can tell the first two fastballs are way off. This one right down the middle. And we watched him take batting practice. He does have the power to make that change when he wants to.
There was nothing Keela could do on that play. However, it reminds me of last night's game. Suzuki lost at least a single, maybe a double with his speed because of Alcides Escobar play in the first inning. And then in the second inning, Melky Cabrera going up against the wall on Justin Smoke. So without that defense, Bruce Chen would have faced a couple of perhaps runner at second base and nobody out.
Makes a big difference in a ball game. You see Figgins right now with him up. You don't know whether they'll bunt or they'll try to pull the ball, drag the ball, and the corners are in. So he's at an advantage in this situation.
And now 2 balls, no strikes on Figgins, who's off to another slow start, hitting at 167. He was 1 for 4 last night with a double and a run scored.
Well, Luke's thrown 5 straight fastballs for balls, while at 4 for ball, 1 for a strike that got hit. Seemed to have a hard time finding it, so it might be better to go to another pitch just for command in this situation.
Hit hard and foul off to the right field side. Luke is from Denver, so he likes, he says, to pitch in cold weather. Well, he's got it. 45 degrees now, and we are told that before the game is over, we could be in the mid-30s. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. And normally you don't bring this up during the baseball season, but we may be dealing with a significant wind chill because there is a strong wind blowing out of the north.
Well, with it being wet at the same time, it feels twice as cold.
And now Figgins tried to bunt to get Suzuki to third, and it's 2-2. So Figgins last year with a slow start, but he added 51 points to his batting average in the second half. One of his best years ever when he was with the Angels. He got off to a slow start in 07, and then from June the 1st on, he hit .391. Tequila, he'll go to the bag himself, and it's a productive out for Figgins as Suzuki moves up to third base. Ram Trucks will show us the Royals defensively. Mitch Meyer gets his first start this year. He's in left field. Mike Aviles is at third, so Wilson Betemit is not in the starting lineup. And it's Matt Trainer behind the plate for Luke Hochevar. This is game number 13 for the Royals, and it's only the third game for Mitch Meyer. Fouled back by Milton Bradley. Bradley 0 for 3 with a walk last night. He's facing Hochevar for the first time. And now Luke with good command with his fastball. And he's ahead 0-2. The number that stands out for Luke when you look back on his first 3 starts is home runs. And he's given up 6 in 18 2/3 innings over his first 3 starts. He has also given up 3 unearned runs. He hasn't had the greatest defense behind him. The Royals have committed 4 errors in Hochevar's first 3 starts.
But the biggest thing is getting ahead with that fastball. When you get hit with the fastball, the home runs tend to go down. You always pitching from behind, then the hitters are always at their strength.
Ichiro Suzuki with a game opening double over to third base on the ground out from Sean Figgins. Two balls, 2 strikes. Luke was able to go 7 innings on Sunday at Detroit, and he pitched with the lead the entire game. The Royals won that game 9-5. And Luke got off to a very good start on Sunday, retiring 9 of the first 10. So he was never really in trouble. And Bradley, who normally has a good eye, and was able to lay off that pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, it takes a good eye to lay off this pitch here. This is out over the plate, coming into the left-handed hitter. Usually when it gets down, it's an automatic trigger for a left-handed hitter.
So from 0-2 to 3-2. And we'll do it again. That base hit for Ichiro Suzuki also gives him a 16 game hitting streak here at Kauffman Stadium. And he's not barely getting by during that streak. He's hitting about 470 over that stretch. Just below the knees. Wow. Luke running it up there at 95 miles an hour. So Bradley comes back after falling behind and takes a 1-out walk.
I tell you really got to have a great eye to take this pitch down on a 3-2 count. You know, you don't want to leave this in the hands of the umpire. So great eye on both the umpire and the batter's part on that pitch.
Well, Fox Track said that was a strike. But Fox Tracks doesn't have a black shirt and gray pants on. So first and third, 1 out to Jack Cust. Longtime Oakland A's designated hitter. Off to a 175 start, 7 hits and 40 at bats. He has 1 extra base hit. Trying to drive in Suzuki and avoid grounding into a double play. And if Luke is looking for a strikeout here, Cust would be a good candidate. 3 years ago, he set an American League record with 197 strikeouts. 1-1. And only Austin Jackson and Josh Willingham have more strikeouts in the league this year.
Well, Jack Cust, he likes to chase that high fastball. His swing is kind of an uppercut kind of swing, so he's going to be a better low ball hitter. And, you know, he's just one of those guys that even if you want to pitch down in the zone, there's some guys you want to elevate to.
Changeup. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Backhanded by Aviles. Out at second base. No double play. It would have been a very awkward double play. The Mariners take a 1-0 lead. A very unconventional double play. That would have been a 5-6-3 double play because of the shift.
That's one of those turns that Escobar is not used to making right here. Aviles does a good job going to his backhand. Now he's got to try to get that's just a tough play to just all of a sudden try to turn, but the throw was low, and that made it tougher to turn. If the throw is waist high, it makes it easier. And Keel did all he could to stretch out and try to complete this play.
You know, I would think, Frank, that's not only a difficult play for Escobar, but that's got to be a difficult play for Mike Aviles throwing from third base. He's not used to seeing the cover man coming from that angle.
Right. I mean, he's coming straight in, and Mike's got to try to throw to the bag, and which he did. He just throw it just down a little bit. So tough play all the way around because everybody's asked to do something that they don't normally do.
2 strikes now on Adam Kennedy. He was the DH and number 4 hitter last night. And most of the time he is neither of those two, a designated hitter or a number 4 hitter. He plays at first base tonight in place of Justin Smoke. Kennedy drove in the only run for the Mariners. It ended up being an unearned run in the 8th inning. He had a sacrifice fly. And he strikes out on the curve to end the inning. Seattle breaks out with a 1-0 lead. Airlines, and Ned mentioned he's going to try and get some bench guys in there, so it'll be Mitch Meyer making his first start tonight. We expect to see Gerard Dyson making starts tomorrow and Sunday. Royals will be facing left-hander Eric Bedard, who's been around for a while. He has been bothered by shoulder problems over the past 3 years, and he has seen the Royals 5 times in his career, but he has not faced the Royals since 2007. Of the Royals in the starting lineup tonight, only 2 have faced Eric Bedard prior to tonight: Melky Cabrera and Jeff Francoeur, and Francoeur only has 1 career at bat. Ball 1 to Chris Getz, hitless last night. He did help set up the Royals' 3-run third inning with a sacrifice bunt. 1-1. Bedard is one of the few bare-armed players tonight. He is from Navan, Ontario, Canada, which is just outside of Ottawa, so he's pitched in this before, probably a lot worse. Originally out of the Orioles organization, traded to Seattle in a deal that sent Adam Jones to Baltimore, and he has had surgery on his left shoulder in 08, 09, and last year. Getz takes a leadoff walk, so he's down to first. And we'll take a look at tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Highest on base percentage among American League leadoff hitters, and Chris Getz taking that walk is up to 370, trailing only Michael Brantley and Junel Escobar. And now Melky drops down a bunt. Bedard goes to second, and no, Ryan came off the bag. Looked like that was a bad throw, Frank. Did Ryan go into his stretch too soon?
Well, it looked like he just came off the bag, Ryan. The ball was up a little bit, but it looked like he might have got it back in there in time. You see the throw is across the runner, and it's starting to go up. So just a matter of whether or not Cabrera pushed his foot back into the bag before he got there himself. So it's one of those plays worth arguing over if they want to argue on it.
Well, looking at it again, too, that was a little higher on the replay than it looked from here. So it's an error on Bedard. And the Royals have 2 on for Billy Butler. So a sacrifice for Melky Cabrera. Billy 1 out of 3 with an RBI last night. He hit .433 against the Mariners last year. And that's stroked into left field. Gets to third. Eddie Rodriguez will hold him there. So the bases are loaded with nobody out.
A pretty good pitch by Bedard. It got in on Billy. He's strong enough to push it out over shortstop, but that's kind of strength he has right here. Just stay inside the ball. He was able to get that base hit to left field. Now, Milton Bradley did a good job of coming in and charging this ball and getting it back to the infield.
So Jeff Francoeur batting 4th and with a 5-game hitting streak. And he's after the first pitch. 0-1. So Alex Gordon gets the night off. Alex with the 9-game hitting streak on the Royals bench. And Francoeur moves up to the cleanup spot. Billy Butler bats 3rd. No balls, 2 strikes. Because there was a play at second base on the bunt by Melky Cabrera, and because the error was committed there, it is not a sacrifice for Cabrera. It is a fielder's choice, error 1. Either way, gets it 3rd with a walk. Cabrera at second base, and Billy Butler is at 1st. Just missed the inside.
A good shot at Brendan Ryan right there. I think the wind must be blowing over the right field fence. He had his back turned to right field when the pitch was made. Then he squared up.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, it's an uncomfortable night for the hitters. So whether the pitcher is comfortable on the mound or not, it is a good night to pitch. But you also don't want to have very long innings because the fielders are just as uncomfortable as the hitters are.
Yeah, it's pretty windy out there. You're trying to get those strikes on a night like tonight. You treat this night like you would one where it's 95 degrees. Just those strikes and get off the field.
Setting up inside and missing inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Royals have 2 of the top RBI men in the league against left-hand pitchers, and both of them are in the lineup tonight. Mike Aviles batting a couple of spots behind Francoeur. Kila Kaihue is on deck. And it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. So Bedard with a 1-0 lead has gotten himself into trouble now. He has committed an error. He has committed a walk. He is all over the place with Francoeur, although the pattern there is that they want to pitch him inside.
They want to try to jam him. A lot of times when they do that, it tells you that you got a pretty long swing and they think they can beat him on the inner half.
Three and 2. If it's close, Francoeur will be swinging. That's just his style of hitting. He is not one to take a lot of walks. He does have 2 already this season. Back in 2006, he didn't get his first walk of the season until his 136th plate appearance.
That's unbelievable.
He's up there to swing. And he grounds it to third, and it eats up Figgins. Everybody moves up, and the Royals tie the game. It is a single for Francoeur because of the bad hop, and he drives in his 9th of the year, tying Alex Gordon for the team lead.
But you take a look at Figgins right here. He never really did pick this ball up. He couldn't make up his mind whether he wanted to square up on it or backhand it, and he got caught in between. And when you get caught in between, the ball will play you, and that's what happened on this play.
So the Royals drawing more walks early this season, and a walk in this inning ties the game, and now the bases are loaded. Nobody out for Keela, who gets a start against a left-hand pitcher. Bedard throws a fastball for strike one.
I think Bedard did what he wanted to do with Francoeur right there, get him to hit the ball on the ground to the corner, and now Figgins got to make a choice between whether he's going to go for two or go home, but he just misplayed the ball and got himself caught in between hops.
No balls, 2 strikes. After having difficulty with the lefties in Detroit, Keela was on the bench for the 2 games in Minnesota when the Twins started Brian Dunsing and Francisco Liriano. Back in the lineup last night against the righty Doug Fister, and in there tonight against a lefty. That's the pitch he needs a lay off of. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Did a good job right there. Yeah, that's a nice adjustment. I really think that's the kind of pitch they're going to try to make Keela hit right here, to try to get him to roll over on the ground and hit a ground ball to the corner.
He pops it up. And now they call the infield fly rule as Rodriguez goes out to get it. So the bases are loaded with 1 out. Mariners have made some changes tonight on defense. Ram Trucks will show us their alignment. Same outfield, Bradley, Saunders, and Suzuki, but on the infield, Figgins and Ryan on the left side where they were last night, but Rodriguez and Kennedy are new on the right side, and Miguel Olivo is back behind the plate. So now an opportunity for Mike Aviles with the bases loaded, 1 out. Fastball for strike 1. Aviles was not in the lineup last night during the Minnesota series. And in the final game on Wednesday afternoon, Aviles put an end to an 0 for 18 with a couple of doubles. He also drove in 3. Aviles does not have a single yet this year. All of his hits have been extra bases. He homered on opening day. He has a triple and 3 doubles. 5 out of 32. He has Melky Cabrera standing at third, Billy Butler at second, and Jeff Francoeur at first. Struck him out on 3 pitches. So Bedard pulling it together after the bases loaded and nobody out. 1 run in, and now a pop-up and a strikeout.
Well, to his credit, he came right after with fastballs. Keela had a fastball middle lane and popped it up, and that was a good fastball right out of the plate to Aviles, one he usually hits.
And now Mitch Meyer, who's making his first start of the year. This is only his 2nd at bat, and it's only the 3rd game he's appeared in. He went around 0-1.
Yeah, Mitch has got to feel like a fish out of water right now. I mean, all he's been able to do for the last 12 games is just take batting practice, take his ground balls, and take his fly balls, and anything he could do to be ready. But until you actually get into the game situation and see that first live pitch, that's when you really tell where you are.
Lays off the curve, 1 ball, 1 strike. Mitch last year had a long stretch of consecutive errorless games in the outfield, which actually went back to the year before. It ended at 190 consecutive errorless games. That's the second longest in Royals history. And whoever the manager has been, they've been pretty confident about putting Mitch at any 3 of the outfield spots. Drafted as a catcher, he moved to third base, then to the corner outfield, and then finished his most recent stretch in the minor leagues as a center fielder. 2-2. How many guys go from catcher to center fielder?
Not very many. Probably Biggio could have been a guy that probably could have done it, but maybe Rodriguez. Maybe Ivan Rodriguez might have been able to do it. He had that kind of speed.
And Myers strikes out. So all in all, not a horrible inning for Bedard. Later in tonight's game, Jeff Francoeur driving in the run for the Royals in the bottom of the first, and he will be going snowmobiling later tonight.
Sometimes I wonder how we made it through.
I don't know. Now they have the hats with the ear flaps on them.
Ear flap, the Joe Madden special. That's what you refer to Elmer Fudd, the Elmer Fudd hat.
That's what it looks like, doesn't it? Luke Hochevar gave up a run in the top of the first. Ichiro Suzuki doubled to open the game. Came home on a force out by Jack Cust. He'll get Miguel Olivo, Michael Saunders, and Luis Rodriguez. No swing. 1-1 on Olivo, who is 0 for his last 21. So he is hitting at 167. Two balls, 1 strike. Miguel with the Rockies last year and was behind the plate for a no-hitter. Ubaldo Jimenez. It's the second time in his career that he's been behind the plate for a no-hitter. In 2006, when he was playing for the Marlins, he was back of the plate for a no-hitter thrown by Anibal Sanchez. Got him with a hard slider away. So Miggy is 0 for his last 22. Here's tonight's video fan question of the night.
Hi, I'm Ron Swan from the Fox Sports crew. Frank, congratulations on your award today from all of us. My question to you is this. Do you think Jackie Robinson will be best remembered as a social icon or as an athletic icon?
Wow, Swanee. That's pretty deep.
That's pretty heavy.
Man. You want to process that for a couple of innings, Frank? There's Swanee. Hey!
Well, that's a good question. I think in the beginning it started mainly as a sports type situation, but I think he's crossed over, with all his civil rights activities and so forth. I think he'd probably be more of a social icon now because he just crossed so many different barriers.
Michael Saunders is thrown out by Chris Getz, so 2 down in the second inning. Chris Getz with the ear flap cap on tonight. Game time temperature in the mid 40s, going to get down into the mid 30s on Jackie Robinson Day around Major League Baseball. Everybody wears number 42, which was retired by every major league team. Earlier today, Frank was a recipient of the Jackie Robinson Lifetime Achievement Award presented by the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And then threw out the first pitch before tonight's game. Let's take a look at that pitch, by the way. Let's break down the mechanics.
There's no mechanics involved, just stiff.
Whoa! That was 2 feet in front of the plate.
That was out. He wanted an in-between hop. It was a bad toss, but I created another memory. Horrible toss. They sent me home too early from spring training.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
you,
great.
Ryan. I appreciate it. I have to thank Swanee also.
For
congratulating me.
Second walk given up by Luke, so he lets Luis Rodriguez slip away. Now Brendan Ryan comes to the plate. Ryan 1 for 3 with a double last night. He's hit in 4 straight games, trying to tack on some points to a .212 batting average. Mariners so far, and it's early, are having troubles on offense, but one category where they're among the league leaders is stolen bases. They are third with 12. Rodriguez hasn't attempted one yet. 1 strike on Ryan. Oh, and 2. Mariners last year had 101 home runs. It was the lowest total in the American League in 18 seasons. They also scored 100 fewer runs than the next closest team. And on the topic of stolen bases, Rodriguez without a throw swipes second as Ochever pitched one in the dirt. So you're not just talking about a bad season on offense for the Mariners. You're talking about a historically bad season. Their on base percentage was below 300. It was .298, which was the worst in the American League in 29 seasons. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes on Brendan Ryan.
Ryan, they got a lot of guys that got a long way to go to get back to respectability in terms of their batting average. So they, you go a long way like this, and sometimes when guys get hot, they get hot together, and they get cold together. But at some point, if they don't stay focused and start believing that they can turn this thing around, it gets worse. Because it don't just happen up here. You got to make it happen. And Luke's got a lot harder breaking ball tonight. I mean, this ball's really had some good bite to it. It was in a perfect spot.
So again, the count goes from 0-2 to 3-2. And grounded over to Aviles at third. Right on target to Keela. And the Mariners leave a runner at second base. Bundled up in the Royals dugout. He is one of the subjects tonight in our Sprint You Call It, which asks you who will lead the Royals in runs batted in. Right now, Alex Gordon and Jeff Francoeur are tied. Text 432-432, enter keyword Royals, a space, then A, B, C, or D. And we hope that you'll enter for a chance to win a suite for you and 11 guests at a Royals game. Send in your text message. You'll get a bounce back text message, which will give you all the details that you need. So Alex Gordon, Jeff Francoeur, Billy Butler, and Wilson Bettamy. We told you at the top of the broadcast that right now the Royals are really spreading out their RBIs. Of the 13 position players, 10 of the 13 have between 5 and 9 RBIs. So nobody really is being expected to carry the load right now. It's been spread out evenly.
Well, that makes it nice for the whole lineup. So now you got everybody who has a chance to drive in runs in one form or another. And you don't have to sit back and wait on the long ball.
Ball one to Matt Trainer. (2-0). Matt Trainer did not play last night. Brian Pena was back of the plate for Bruce Chen's masterpiece. Three balls, no strikes.
Now, Ryan, this is the first time the Royals have had a lineup where your number 1 and number 2 hitters are getting on with regularity. So now they've also, this first year had a 3, 4, and 5 that are actually hitting and driving in runs. So for the first 5 guys, all those guys have an opportunity to drive in runs, as long as that 1 and 2 guy continues to get on base.
Alcides Escobar is on deck, and then Chris Getz. Bedard opened the first inning with a walk, and that turned into a run. And now that's inside, so he's walked the leadoff man in consecutive innings. Tonight is Focus on Driving Night at Kauffman Stadium, sponsored by Sprint. Sprint and the Royals handed out thumb bands to the first 20,000 fans attending the game tonight. The bands are a reminder to focus on driving whenever you are behind the wheel. Don't email or text when driving. And according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Association, drivers who are texting are 4 times more likely to be involved in a crash. Ball 1 to Escobar. So in addition to sponsoring our nightly You Call It, we thank Sprint for bringing awareness to texting and driving. One of the many things I gave up for Lent this year.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yep.
I'd be scared.
I'm guilty.
I'd be scared to death to try to text and drive.
I'm guilty. Thankfully, I haven't had any close calls yet, but I've had haven't had any problems giving up texting and driving. Now, you know, during Lent on Sundays, you're supposed to go back to doing whatever you want to do, but even on Sundays, I'm not texting and driving. A rocket that almost decapitated third base coach Eddie Rodriguez.
Well, thank goodness for the helmets. Almost. That's always kind of spooky, though. I've had a few close calls at first base like that.
2-2 on Escobar, who started the last road trip 0 for 12, and now he has a 4-game hitting streak. He is hitting .235 at the moment, and that was his batting average last year in a full season with Milwaukee. Still 2-2. Royals got some help in the first inning after the Bedard walk. He committed a throwing error on what could have been a force out at second base on a bunt by Melky Cabrera, and then an infield single and an RBI on a ground ball that was misplayed by Sean Figgins. Escobar strikes out. So Bedard up there at 92 over the outside part of the plate. And Bedard has 3 strikeouts. In fact, he has struck out 3 of the last 4 hitters. Replica Jersey Day returns tomorrow. It's a 12-10 game. The first 20,000 fans will receive this gray replica jersey. And since it is a fan favorite, our broadcast team will help open the gates and hand out jerseys beginning tomorrow at 10:30 at gates A and E. And I can tell you that commercial was not filmed earlier today. With the gals taking the jerseys off and short sleeve shirts underneath and shorts. Not tonight. A slow roller to the right side, and the Mariners get the lead runner. Trainer is out at second, and Getz will be at first with 2 down.
That was a nice heads-up play by Adam Kennedy right there to be able to recognize that there was not going to be, once he vacated first base, knowing Trainer being the runner, get that lead runner. That was a nice adjustment that he made.
It looked like his first time up that Melky Cabrera was trying to bunt for a base hit, maybe push it towards the right side, but he didn't get enough of it, and he buried it in the dirt. Bedard fielding the ball in front of the mound, and he had plenty of time to go down to second base, but his throw was high, and it pulled Brendan Ryan off the bag.
They're right, just not enough push to get it by him. They really got to get it out away from the pitcher, but I bounced off the mound real well.
Typically, a hitter tries to bunt for a base hit if they can to the first base side against a lefty, because they will fall to the third base side, and to the third base side against a righty. That's why Melky perhaps is trying to push it over to the right side. 1 ball, 1 strike.
What they want to try to do is push it right at the second baseman and try to get it halfway between the mound and first base, and you force that first baseman to leave, and then you can outrun the pitcher to first base.
Just foul off to the third base side. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, the Royals are having a lot of fun with a record of 8-4. And before the game today, Jeff Francoeur was a live guest on the MLB Network, and it was before the Royals started stretching. So a few guys saw it in the clubhouse, and Melky Cabrera came running out of the clubhouse and got behind Jeff Francoeur and was doing jumping jacks behind him to try and distract his teammate. It didn't work. He lines out to center field, and that ends the inning. A 1-1 tie at the end of 2. Steal. Are you ready for a steal? Jackie Robinson Day all throughout Major League Baseball, and that's something a little more special here in Kansas City because of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and President Bob Kendrick is here today. Natalie attired, as always, looking good. Good seeing you, Bob.
Hey, it's good
big day
here.
for the not just the game, but a big day, as Frank and I were talking earlier. It's a big day for our country.
Yeah, it really is. And, of course, the day was made even more special for us because we got an opportunity to honor this man in a well-deserving handing out of the Jackie Robinson Lifetime Achievement Award. And so it made this day that much more special.
Ichiro Suzuki leads off against Luke Hochevar, and Suzuki scored the Seattle run back in the first inning. Ron Swan, Bob, who is our high home camera up here in the booth, and he has his Monarchs cap on tonight. He asked our video fan question of the night, which was a good one, and I think if you look at it from a sports point of view, it's very thought-provoking. And his question was, in the end, what Jackie Robinson did, does that make him more of a sports icon or more of a social icon?
And really, I think more of a social icon because he changed our society for the better. You know, that was one of the things that the late Buck O'Neill talked so passionately and so eloquently about, was that Robinson's breaking of the color barrier wasn't just a part of the civil rights movement. It actually spawned the beginning of what we know to be the modern day civil rights movement, and it literally changed the course of our society for the better. And so when you look at that, the fact that he was obviously a great baseball player, but his impact is just absolutely incredible. To me, and Buck would always say this, you can mark the 20th century before Jackie and after Jackie. He had that kind of far-reaching impact in terms of sparking social change in our country.
And I remember reading this so many times and hearing about it on documentaries as I've tried to study more about it and go deeper than just the game of baseball. But the fact that Branch Rickey, who was the president and general manager of the Dodgers, in his famous line that he wasn't looking for the best player from the Negro Leagues, he was looking for the right player from the Negro Leagues.
Yeah, and I think that was true because there were a lot of other guys who were great baseball players, but Jackie was the right guy. He had the intangibles. You know, college educated. He had been a celebrated collegian at UCLA, so he's college educated. He had served in the military. He was disciplined. He was married. He was stable. All those attributes would be called upon to deal with the racial hatred that he would be confronted with. And so you had to have the right guy. And, of course, this was so out of character for Jackie to take this kind of stuff. But Jackie understood that this was bigger than Jackie. And I think sometimes in this life, there are people who are put in places for particular reasons. And I think Jackie understood how big this really was and that he needed to do this to make our society better and to create some opportunities for others.
It's played by Mitch Meyer into left center field to get Sean Figgins.
Well, Bob, at what point do you think Jackie went from the sport of baseball and knowing that he broke the color barrier and so forth to the social side?
Well, I really think it started, Frank, the day he signed the contract. But I'm not sure even when he signed the contract. Of course, you know, he plays here in 1945, which is one of those little-known things. And we want people to understand that Jackie Robinson's career, professional baseball career, began right here in Kansas City. It was our city that gave America one of his greatest heroes. But, you know, when he signed that contract, I'm not sure he really understood how big this thing was. But certainly by the time he got to Montreal, had that phenomenal year in Montreal. They win the championship there. And then, of course, this groundswell. You know, all of a sudden, all of these folks who had been kind of left behind in our society were there rallying around Jackie. And this groundswell started to build around it. And so I don't know if he knew how big this thing was when he first signed his contract in 45, but by the time he got there, in April 15, 1947, I think he had an understanding. And just hearing some of the guys like Don Newcomb and some of the guys who would later come to the Dodgers and seeing all of these African Americans who were following Jackie everywhere that he went. There was so much pride in this, and I think that meant a lot to a lot of people.
Bob, can you stick around for another half inning?
There's
a lot to talk about with you. I know. 1-1 tie to the bottom of the third. Past 13 years, welcoming in 75 children into his home and adopting one son. And he's here tonight with Juan, Jackson, Jeremiah, and Jeffrey. They're wearing blue in honor of Child Abuse Prevention Month. So Buck would be proud to have someone like that sitting in his seat tonight on Jackie Robinson Day around Major League Baseball. And we're visiting with Bob Kendrick of the Negro League Baseball Museum. Billy Butler into right center field. And the Royals will have a runner at second base with nobody out in the bottom of the third. Bob Kendrick joins us from the Negro League Baseball Museum. And before we get back to Jackie Robinson, I want to make sure that we spend some time talking about Buck O'Neil, your great friend. And you were just reminding me that had Buck still been with us, he would have turned 100 this year.
This is his centennial birthday year. He would be 100 in November 13th. And so, we're really excited about that, and we think that there's some opportunities for us as part of a centennial birthday celebration for the late Buck O'Neil. And, with the Hall of Fame giving out the second installment of the Buck O'Neil Award later this summer at the Hall of Fame ceremonies. I think there's some excitement building around what we want to do, and Buck still remains a big part of what we want to do as we continue to try and get the story out about the Negro Leagues and about his museum.
Bob, I'm guilty of this, and I'm sure I can say this about a lot of people in Kansas City, that I have been to the museum more than once, but it's been a while, and it's easy to fall into the trap of places like that. Well, been there, done that.
Yes.
But the museum continues to grow and change over the years.
Absolutely. It's a constant evolution for us as we go out there still scouring the country, trying to bring in new collection.
Speaking of scouring the country.
Thank you, Buck.
Jeff Francoeur with his second home run. He has driven in all three for the Royals tonight, and it's a 3-1 game. And in typical Buck O'Neil fashion, if he had something to do that, he didn't want us to talk about him. He wanted us to get back to the game.
Get back to the game.
But Jeff had tried to pitch him inside again, Ryan, and didn't get away with it that time. Well, Bob, I want to say that I'm speaking for a lot of people here in Kansas City who are just ecstatic that you're back with the museum and that you're the head guy, you're in charge, and I'm sure that you coming back, it's going to get a lot of people who sort of distance themselves from the museum to come back.
Well, Frank, I tell you what, the outpouring of love from the community has been really overwhelming since the announcement almost 3 weeks ago. But excitement wanes over time. It's important that we continue to try and build on this wave of energy and support that we're getting. If I've helped galvanize some folks, then that is wonderful. But as an institution and with a great team that we're working with, we want to really try to build on that momentum. We're seeing already an increase in memberships since the announcement, which I'm really, really excited about. But key guys like my dear friend Joe Posnanski and Jason Whitlock and other friends who have voices to help carry this message out to people is really, really important, and it's great to have them back in the fold as well. These kinds of opportunities that you guys are presenting us here tonight means the world to us, and we want to encourage people, come on down and see what we have to offer. As any museum would be, we want people to experience what we have to offer.
Something that's always struck me is the pride that comes with the Negro Leagues and these guys that could have been bitter if they wanted to and would have had every right to be bitter. And do you sense sometimes that there's, since it was not the leagues, but that time in our country was such a shameful time in our country that for some people they don't realize that the museum is more about celebration than it is looking back and saying here's what was wrong with our country.
Yeah, Ryan, you're absolutely right. It is a celebration. I do think sometimes people think because it's attached to the ugliness of American segregation that you're going to be hit with the sad, somber story, but you got the wrong place. This is a celebration. It is a celebration of the power of the human spirit to persevere and prevail. What these men did in the face of adversity is the real story. They never cried, woe is mine. They were enjoying their lives. They were playing the game that they loved. They played the game as well as anyone, and they left a lasting legacy that should stand the test of time. That's the story that's documented there at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. And you're right. To a guy, there is no harboring of bitterness because, number one, you can't convince them that they weren't playing the best baseball being played anywhere in the world. You know, it was just that the rest of the world thought that the best baseball players were in the major leagues, and so they wanted to prove to the world that they were as good as anyone. But, you know, within all of that, they never had any ill will toward anyone, and I think that's the thing that Buck carried so beautifully, in that spirit, you know, and seeing the glass as half full, never half empty. And I think all of those guys embody that same spirit.
Well, I, for one, can just vouch for that, Bob. Just sitting in the room with all those guys, you know, watch this nice play by Figgins. They're just sitting in the room with Willie Smallwood, Slick Surratt, Buck O'Neill, Connie Johnson, Jess Williams. I mean, it just really was kind of profound to me because none of those guys ever talked about any of the bad things that happened to them. They always talked about, I mean, tell some of the most wonderful stories of who they had to have dinner with, where they had to have dinner, get in the car at 2 in the morning, sleeping at the ballpark, and then getting up the next morning, putting the uniform on and playing. It didn't seem to be a hindrance to them. They understood what was going on, and they said, well, we're here to play baseball. We enjoy playing baseball.
And to be honest, Frank, I think most of the people that's the story that they wanted to hear. They wanted to hear these horror stories, and certainly they had their challenges as they travel the highways and byways of our country. You know, not knowing where you can stop and get a meal or having a place to stay. But the thing was, and I think the great spirit of this thing is, they wouldn't let that deter their love of the game. So if I had to sleep on the bus and eat my peanut butter and crackers, so be it. You're not going to stop me from playing ball. You know, this is a game that we love, and we play this game, and they enjoyed playing the game. And so the hardships came certainly in the travels and in some instances. But as Buck would say, when they started to map out those travels, they stayed in some of the finest hotels in the country. They just happened to be black-owned. They ate in some of the finest restaurants. They just happened to be black-owned.
The story that Buck used to love to tell about Jackie Robinson was when they were filling up the bus with gas.
Yes.
And some of the players tried to go into a segregated bathroom, and the owner said, no, you guys can't go in there. And Jackie said,
take the hose out the tank.
And there was two 50-gallon tanks. Yes. That was going to feed his family for a week, right?
Absolutely. It was a wonderful story because it also exemplified how Jackie wasn't so acclimated to segregation and that he understood the economic power that you need in order to change things. And the guy said, go to the restroom, but don't stay too long.
Which should be a goal for everyone, right? Well, we got 2 outs and 2 strikes, Bob, and want to make sure we have enough time to thank you for stopping by the booth and everything you do for the museum. It is such a gem in our city, and we encourage people, if you haven't been there, and we reiterate again, it is a place of great pride and grace and celebration.
You know, I'm biased, obviously, but I think we have the best baseball museum anywhere in the country. And that's no disrespect to Cooperstown, which is obviously a wonderful place. But this story, this piece of American history that you cannot get in a textbook. You can't get this history in a textbook. So you need to come and experience this and learn about those who helped make this country the great country that she is. And that story is told only at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. It's more than baseball. Baseball is merely a premise for a much grandiose story. And what we witness here is the evolution of how America became the great country that she is. And it's just told through the eyes of these legendary baseball players. And, of course, if you're a baseball fan, then you're going to be in hog heaven.
Then there's the baseball stuff, too. That's right. Bob, thanks a lot.
Thank you guys for having me.
Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro League Baseball Museum. Jeff Francoeur hits a 2-run home run to give the Royals a 3-1 lead. 3. Just hit a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He's one of the subjects of tonight's Sprint You Call It, who will lead the Royals in runs batted in this year. And right now it's Frank Coeur who leads with 11. But Billy Butler leads the vote at 51%. Keep texting in at 432-432. The keyword is Royals, a space, and then A, B, C, or D. So Lukochaver has a 2-run lead. Jack Cuss drove in the Mariners' run in the top of the 1st inning with a fielder's choice, driving in Ichiro Suzuki. Adam Kennedy will follow, and then Miguel Olivo. Right to Chris Getz. 1 down. Here's a look at tonight's Roadrunner Turbo Speed Pitch comparison. And Eric Bedard at 93. Lukochaver's gotten up to 95. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo. Ball 1 outside. Now that he's gone, we can talk behind his back. But is there a nicer guy in town than Bob Kendrick?
I don't think so. I mean, you just love to hear him talk with the passion that he talks about the museum and the players. And, you know, he embodies everything that Buck O'Neil stood for. And I think that's his goal, and that's where his passion comes from.
There are certain people, when they walk into a room, they really light up the room. You know, they're just, not because they're drawing attention to themselves, but they just, you know, they just have that spirit about them. And he is one of them. And I'm so glad that you brought it up, Frank, because it is so true. I mean, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum without Bob Kendrick, that's just not right.
Well, I mean, he was so close to Buck, and even though he was on the marketing side of the museum during that time, it seemed like every time they had a function or a speaking engagement, he was the one doing the talking, and I think that's what really put him out front, and he just seemed to carry that passion everywhere he goes. But I think when he came back, you know, when the announcement was made that he was going to accept that position of executive director, I think the whole city, everybody who knew Bob, you know, just got re-energized. And I think that's what he made reference to Joe Posnanski, and he was really excited about Joe because Joe instructed all of his Twitter followers to become members of the museum. And so that he was getting memberships from all over the country, and that's what you need, that kind of support.
Big hop to Escobar. Miguel Olivo continues to struggle. He's now 0 for his last 23. Stadium tonight, but on Sunday it will be. It's also an autograph afternoon. There will be live entertainment, face painters, a caricature artist, and much more in the outfield experience before the game. You'll also meet select alumni from noon until 1 near the Royals Hall of Fame. Keep those kids bundled up. The wind has done nothing but pick up since the beginning of the game, so the rain is mostly coming in sideways. Temperature continues to drop. Royals batting in the bottom of the fourth, and Matt Trainer gets on top of one and drives it into the Royals bullpen. And to stay warm, Trainer goes sprinting around the bases.
Two right-handed hitters that Eric Bedard pounded inside their first at bat to come back to haunt him. He tried to get this ball back into Matt Trainer, kept it down around the knees, and he was looking for it and got bat hit out front and really got extended on this. That was a line drive right into the bullpen.
Escobar grounds out. The Royals are attacking Bedard in this inning. Both hitters going after the first pitch.
But just take a look how quick this swing is. He had to be quick to get this ball inside right there. So he got through this ball. And this ball wasted no time through that heavy wind blowing to right field. He just cut right through that wind right into the bullpen.
Yeah, the only way that's going to work tonight is to hit a line drive home run to left field, because in a way, if it stays low, it stays out of that jet stream. But if you hit anything high in the air to left field tonight, it's going to be swallowed up by the wind and the rain.
Well, you're right about that. And I tell you what, it's kind of nice when the offense, you just don't know where it's going to come from with this team right now. And it seems like when they need a big hit, you don't know who's going to give it to you. Everybody surprises you when they comes up and get that big hit. And Matt Trainer's had 2 big home runs for the Royals so far this season.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Chris Getz, who walked and scored in the first. Reached on a force out in the second. Still 1-2. Well, Bedard has his problems this year, giving up home runs. 2 tonight, and now he has allowed 6, and that's in 12 1/3 innings. 6 home runs.
That last outing, they scored runs in his first 4 innings too. And I think if you're going to pitch inside, lefty to righty, you got to pitch at the belt. You can't pitch at the knees, and that pitch is just too easy to get to. And the first time through against Matt Trainer, he was successful in pitching in, but ended up walking him, I believe. And I think he come right back this time and didn't quite get it in there. And then that's when Matt was looking for him.
Three pitches down, 3 pitches up.
I'll say that's an odd pitch pattern there.
Still 2-2. Mariners really thought they had something going when they traded for Eric Bedard from the Orioles, and at the time he was one of the up-and-coming left-hand pitchers in the American League. He had 28 wins for the Orioles in 06 and 07 combined. And he comes back off speed and strikes out Chris Getz. So Bedard is down, but he has 5 strikeouts. Here's a chance for you to get on the field at Kauffman Stadium for batting practice with the Royals alumni. May the 14th, 10 former Royals will work with you. You'll get all the swings and fielding practice you want. So for a great baseball experience, call 816-504-4150. You must be 25 or older. Strike on Melky Cabrera. He is 0 for 2. So the Mariners really thought they had something when they got Bedard, but so far that's a trade that's worked out a lot better for the Baltimore Orioles. Adam Jones has been an all-star. George Sherrill was their closer for a couple of years. They also got a young pitcher by the name of Chris Tillman. And meanwhile, Bedard has had 3 different shoulder surgeries since going to the Mariners. One ball, 2 strikes.
I'm sure you had times have changed. Pitching coaches would never let a pitcher go out bare arm like he is tonight in this kind of weather in the old days. So I guess now it just don't seem like it's no big deal.
6 strikeouts for Bedard, but he's given up 2 home runs, and the Royals have a 4-1 lead. Run in 4 innings.
I think that's the whole deal right there, Ryan. Is Lucas up coming out? He's been aggressive with his fastball. Got a nice tilt to his breaking ball too. But I think you put that pitching performance with the key hits by Francoeur and Matt Trainer. I think that puts the Royals on a roll right now.
Only 2 strikeouts, and that is an important statistic tonight for his defense. They don't want to be doing a lot of standing around tonight with long counts. So 8 ground outs, 2 flyouts. So 10 outs have been put in play. It'll be Michael Saunders, Luis Rodriguez, and Brendan Ryan in the 5th inning. A bunt, and it will roll foul. Luke has retired the last 7, and he has an out against 11 of the last 12. Ichiro Suzuki began the game with a double and came home on a RBI ground out from Jack Cust in the top of the 1st. The Royals tied it in the bottom half on Francoeur's single, and Francoeur hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd, and Matt Trainer with a home run in the 4th. 0-2 on Saunders. Saunders out of Victoria, British Columbia. Mariners 11th round pick in 2004. Keela hangs it in the air for Hochevar, and now Luke has retired 8 straight.
Luke keeps the ball on the ground. He's much more effective when he pitches down Nice breaking ball. Saunders gets out front of it and just rolls it over to Keila Kahui. And the thing that you like to see on this play here, now Luke hustles over, but Keila hits him chest high, and then keep him right in stride. He can touch the base and then finish the play.
Now Luis Rodriguez. Good curveball in for a strike. Rodriguez walked with 2 outs in the second inning. One and one. Rodriguez starting at second base tonight. Jack Wilson, who is the Mariners' starting second baseman, he is 0 for his last 13. Two and one. Rounded to Getz, and there are 2 down, so 9 in a row set down by Hochevar. And now Brendan Ryan. Chris Getz, I'm a little surprised he's bundled up the way he is. I mean, he's from Michigan.
He's got the flap down.
I mean, he looks like the coldest guy in the field.
You know, the only thing used to bother me on nights like tonight is when the wind goes down the back of your neck. So as long as you can put a turtleneck or something on to keep that wind from going down the back of your neck, I was okay.
Of all the guys that I'd be worried about right now in the field, the last guy would be Chris Getz. I'd be more worried about Keila. Melky Cabrera from the Dominican Republic. This is out of the ordinary weather. Look at Keila. He's got nothing on his ears. I mean, this weather in Honolulu, this would be state of emergency type stuff.
I don't know. You never thought you'd see guys wearing caps with ear flaps and those big ski masks in a baseball game. It just you just got to take some getting used to.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And we told you early on that Luke Hochevar has always said that he likes to pitch in cold weather, and he pitched in plenty of that growing up in Colorado. And he knows that typically the hitter is going to be uncomfortable at the plate. No swing. Ted Barrett is the umpire at first.
Yeah, Luke is not a long way off of his last outing with the Tigers in terms of how many off-speed pitches he throws. I know early in the first inning he tried to establish his fastball, but his curveball right now and his changeup, they're real effective pitches for him.
You know, and I talked to Matt Trainer about that because you and I commented that even with the big lead on Sunday, he was still going with the breaking ball. And Matt said even though the Royals ended up with a big lead, they didn't want to change what was working with Luke. Instead of having him mid-course change his strategy, just stay with what worked. He got the win, and he has a 3-run lead tonight. It is the complete opposite, outside. So you come here to watch the game, but if you're looking for a time to go check out some of the exhibits, now would be the time as the temperature continues to fall. The wind has the U.S. flag wrapped around the flagpole out in right field. It has been raining since first pitch, just a very steady mist. Grounds crew has been working hard in between the innings to absorb some of the moisture around the mound and home plate and on the infield dirt. Little splashes of lighter colored dirt compound. You can see that. Wherever you see that compound means that that was a problem area somewhere on the dirt, and that compound is designed to absorb moisture on the dirt. Figgins this time handles a difficult backhand and a short hop and throws out Billy Butler. He had difficulty with that play back in the first, which resulted in an RBI single. Royals fans, coming up on Tuesday, the Indians will be in town, and the first 10,000 fans will receive a Royals t-shirt presented by Farmland. That's a 7-10 game with the Indians. This will be the second t-shirt Tuesday of the season, so make sure you collect all 7. This is a 4-game series with Seattle ending on Sunday, and then a 4-game series with Cleveland beginning Monday. Royals are going to see quite a bit of the Cleveland Indians and see if they are for real. I'm sure the Indians are wondering the same thing about the Royals. And coming into tonight, both teams were tied for first place, but Cleveland has defeated Baltimore. So Cleveland has a half-game lead over the Royals. But the Royals will play the Indians here for 4, and then on the next road trip, 3 games at Progressive Field.
Well, you'd almost have to think that both teams right now think they're for real. I mean, the longer you go, the more confidence you get, and they beat a good Baltimore team today, so that reinforces how they feel about their ball club, and the Royals are playing well. So it's a series that I'm definitely looking forward to when they come in here.
Baltimore, after a fast start, they're back at 500, 6-6, and they've lost 5 in a row. Another base hit for Frank Gore, so he's 3 for 3. He's driven in 3 of the 4 runs. And again, with Alex Gordon out, Ned Yost shuffling up the lineup, moving Billy Butler up, Jeff Francoeur up, and he's had a big night as the number 4 hitter.
Well, he's got a nice short swing tonight. He's getting to the ball quickly, and he just stays with this pitch all the way. Didn't try to pull it. The ball's out over the plate, and you can see that he's going right with this pitch, and he hits a line drive into right field. Kevin Sykes has got to be happy about this swing, the swings he's taking tonight.
So he's proving to be difficult to pitch to tonight. You pitch him inside, he hits a line drive home run to left field up onto the patio in front of the Royals Hall of Fame. You pitch him away and he singles to right.
You know, there's something to be said, Ryan, for new life, you know. You not only get a chance to come to a ball club and just be on the ball club, but you get a chance to come to the ball club and play every day. That's something he wasn't doing last year. And so he's got that confidence from Ned Yost that, hey, you're going to play every day. Go out there and do it. The guy was Kevin Sykes, changed his swing a little bit toward the middle of spring training, and so far he's been able to maintain it.
Keela drives it to center field through the rain. Saunders runs it down. So 2 down. Francoeur back to first base. Here's tonight's AT trivia question on Jackie Robinson Day. What are the nicknames of the 2 pro teams Jackie Robinson played for before 1947?
Minor league teams?
Yes.
Montreal was the Royals.
Mm-hmm. And then the one before that?
Oh, gotcha. The Monarchs.
Now, how fair is that? You answer him right away. And what does Kevin Shanks say? Very good. Nice job, Frank.
Well,
I answer the question very early on, and I get, oh, that take all the drama out of it.
But the fans didn't know I was right. They didn't know I was right till you said it.
I mean, what's the difference? I mean, you put our careers together. We've got 8 Gold Gloves. We've got a Jackie Robinson Lifetime Achievement Award. And we've got best caroms player in the whole 3rd grade. So from the Monarchs to the Montreal Royals, which was a farm team of the Dodgers, and then to the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Wow, that ball was called foul. Marvin Hudson made the call, and he's closer than anybody, although he's given himself a very small area for his eyes to see the ball. It just missed the line, but of course it only has to go over the bag. Fair. Doesn't matter where it lands if it's hit on the ground. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You almost have to take your hat off to the fans that are staying here. They're sticking this one out, and get the umbrellas and parkas and everything else. They can bags over their shoulders, anything to keep them dry. They're hanging in here.
And the kids, of course, are having a ball. I mean, how often do you get to go out and play in the rain?
Kids don't seem to get cold.
They just get a cold. Line to left field, and that'll sail over Bradley. Francoeur will be waved home as the throw comes in high. Otherwise, the Mariners may have had a shot. So Aviles still is without a single this year. And it's a big night for Francoeur. He has driven in 3, and now he has scored 2.
Yeah, Mike does a good job picking on a fastball right here, middle in, and drive his ball into left center field. And that's his strength right there. When Mike was in trouble, he chased a lot of balls away. But when he gets his fastball, he can definitely turn on it. And like you say, Ryan, that first cutoff guy, that first relay guy, he's got to make that play.
So it's 5-1. That was the score last night. Also played in the rain. And now Mitch Meyer, who has struck out twice against Eric Bedard. Now over 100 pitches. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 5 2/3. But he's given up 5 runs, 7 hits. The Royals have scored in 4 of 5 innings tonight. The one inning the Royals did not score in, Bedard began with a leadoff walk. So he's been pitching out of the stretch all night and pitching with runners all night. Two and one.
You can kind of tell Mitch hadn't played. This is his first start of the season. You can tell he's just a little bit slow on the fastball. Just his timing has got to be off. He can't be right on it after not playing since spring training. And he had a great spring training.
Three balls, 1 strike. 3-2. Bedard struggling to get through 5 innings tonight. He has not gone more than 5 innings in each of his first 2 starts. On Sunday, he was only able to go 4 against Cleveland. That is high and away. Mitch walks, and there are 2 on with 2 out. And out of the dugout comes Eric Wedge. So Bedard will not go 5 innings tonight, and his ERA is going to stay around 9 after 3 starts. So a Chevy call to the bullpen for the Mariners. Royals lead 5-1 in the 5th. And the Royals have scored in 4 of 5 innings. Here in the 5th with 2 outs, Mike Aviles with the double to score Francoeur. It'll be David Pauly replacing Eric Bedard here in the 5th, on for the 4th time this year. He has walked 3 in 4 2/3 innings. He inherits Aviles at second, Meyer at first, and will face Matt Trainer. Mariners didn't need the bullpen last night because of the rain shortened game. Doug Fister pitched 7 innings, and it goes down as a complete game. 2 games ago in Seattle, the Mariners were closing in on a 3-game sweep over Toronto, but the bullpen gave up 7 runs late. Oh, 0-2. David Pauly, originally out of the San Diego Padres organization. Got him with a slider down and away. That closes out the inning, but the Royals add to the lead and now lead by 4. to the Japan Relief Fund, his native country, and he hopes you will too. Go to unicef.org or text Japan to 864-233 to donate $10. That's 864-233 to donate $10. Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association are coming together to help Japan's children in need. Luke Hochevar trying to win his second in a row, and he is on his way. He's retired 10 in a row and 14 out of 15. The Mariners with only one hit, and that was Suzuki leading off the game. He doubled and came around to score in the first inning. The Mariners have only had one base runner since the first, and that was a walk. That check swing, he almost nailed the on-deck hitter Sean Figgins. Another hit tonight for Suzuki, and that would be his 10th consecutive multi-hit game here at Kauffman Stadium, and that would be a stadium record. One and two. George Brett also had 9 consecutive multi-hit games back in 1979. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Let's find Joel Goldberg out in the rain.
No, we're undercover. That's the good news, although it is still cold. You know, we've got Billy Butler playing for the Royals, but we have the original Bill Butler with the original Royals back in 1969, and it has been a few years since you have been here at Kauffman or then Royal Stadium. What are your thoughts, and how many years has it been?
Well, the last time I was here, Joel, was in 1975 as an opposing player with the Minnesota Twins. And we came up here from Joplin after visiting some friends, and then from Texas before that to see my brother. But the park is absolutely awesome. What a beautiful place to play.
Welcome back to town. And, of course, you came to town from the Detroit organization, that 68 team that won the championship, and you were in their system, drafted in the 22nd round of the expansion draft. What was it like to be drafted by the then new Kansas City Royals?
Well, you know, it was very exciting because Detroit at that time had just been in the World Series, and their starting rotation was pretty well set. So to get drafted by an expansion ball club, you knew that it was going to be pretty well wide open in spring training. And it was a very exciting time to be a part of the organization, especially for a young guy like me.
Nice job there by Jeff Francoeur tracking that. Before the inning's over, got a couple more things I want to ask you. We have seen some rookies make their debut in big situations. I've got to imagine back on April 9th, 1969, a 17-inning game where you throw the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th innings. 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs. Had to have been quite a thrill.
Yeah, it was, and it's strange. The thing I remember most about that night was the first hitter I faced in the major leagues was Harmon Killebrew. And the first pitch I threw him, he hit it 409 feet to straightaway center field. Fortunately, the fence was 410. So my first thought was, I said, looks like I'm not going to be here very long.
Well, you were here a couple of years, then up to Minnesota, which means that with the Twins, you would have played in this ballpark as a visitor, and I assume faced Frank White a few times.
I sure did. Excellent ball player, excellent hitter. I came here and I started 2 or 3. In fact, I started several games here as a Twin when I pitched against the Royals. They were a very, very good ball club at that point in time.
All right, and final thing, how about a very young Paul Splittorff as a teammate?
Well, I played with Paul originally in Omaha when I was there on a rehab assignment with from arm surgery, and he had all the tools at that point in time, so it was no surprise to me or anybody else the success he had as a major leaguer. He's a great major league pitcher.
Welcome back to town. Good to catch up with you.
Thank you, Joel.
All right, that is Bill Butler, 5-1 at the K.
Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Ronnie will win $1,300. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Ronnie will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
And Ronnie has Alcides Escobar, Chris Getz, Melky Cabrera coming up. And if anybody gets on, Billy Butler. Escobar is struck out, grounded out. This is David Pauly, who came on in relief of Eric Bedard in the 5th inning and struck out Matt Trainer. The Royals getting all 5 against Bedard. One of the runs was unearned. Bedard struck out 6, but only goes 4 2/3 innings. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre with Frank White, Joe Goldberg, producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. And once again, our great Fox Sports Kansas City crew, and many of whom once again out in the rain. And it's, what do you think, Donnie, worse tonight or last night? Good talk, Donnie, good talk. Shallow left, and that drops in front of Milton Bradley. So Escobar has hit in 5 straight games. He is 1 for 3 tonight.
Well, as a hitter, you kind of hope you get lucky on a pitch like this. This ball's down and away. He just extended as far as he can go. Then he's got enough strength to pull his ball back into left field. But he was definitely fooled on this pitch. He just came out ahead on this swing. But you have to keep your eye on the ball and make contact. You never know what will happen.
Olivo was ready to throw. He is always ready to throw. Chris Getz walked and scored in the bottom of the 1st inning, coming home on one of Jeff Francoeur's 3 runs driven in tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looking down at third base coach Eddie Rodriguez. Good speed at first. Good bat control at the plate. And maybe that's what David Pauly was thinking as he backs off the rubber to remind Escobar that he knows he's there.
Well, the running track must be still pretty dry if he's going to attempt to steal.
Not running. And it's 2 balls, 1 strike, which is always a good hit and run count. We mentioned this late in last night's game, and it applies tonight. It really hasn't ever rained heavy tonight, but it's been raining all night. And even though this is a modern, up-to-date drainage system, that grass has been taking on a lot of water, and there is going to be no routine play with a ground ball that goes skidding through the grass.
Well, you're right. It's going to be wet, and you've got to make sure you get a good grip on it before you throw it.
Now Escobar runs. Olivo throws, and it almost nailed Escobar on the helmet. Ryan comes running across the bag to save it. Alcides Escobar has stolen his 3rd base of the year.
We had a real good jump off first base, and he looked in as if it might have been a hit and run, but the ball does run back to the first baseline, which really helps him get in there safely. Well, the running track still looks pretty solid.
Three balls, 2 strikes.
So you can always tell when the guy slides, whether he slides smoothly or whether he slides and tumbles over. You know it's a little bit too muddy out there.
Caught at second base by Rodriguez, so Getz was trying to get it to the right side, but was unable to get it on the ground. Every Wednesday, students can purchase a ticket for $7. It's Inked Student Nights. That's with a valid high school or college ID. Plus, you'll get a hot dog and a beverage for just $7. Wednesday, April 20th is also Ink Local Music Showcase with support from 96.5 The Buzz, featuring live pregame music from Scratch Track. That's the Royals and Indians at 7:10. Gates open at 5:30 on Wednesday, April the 20th. Scratch Track. Melky is 0 for 3 after getting 2 hits last night. One of his outs tonight was a line out to center field. Royals left-hand batters are late on David Pauly, and fastball is fouled off to the third base side. Royals scored at least 1 run in 4 of the first 5 innings. Two and one. Royals came in tonight second in the American League in batting average, second in on base percentage, second in runs scored, first in stolen bases. They were 10th in the league in home runs and didn't figure to be among the league leaders in that category. But tonight, a night when you figured nobody was going to be able to get one through the wind and the rain, the Royals have hit 2 home runs.
Well, you have to figure with a certain amount of at-bats, Billy and Melky and Alex Gordon, those guys are going to hit 15 to 20 home runs. So it's just a matter of getting enough at-bats.
So the Royals have gotten Escobar over to third base, but now there are 2 out. And speaking of Billy, he comes to the plate. Billy Butler, not to be confused with Bill Butler, or Billy Buckner, who is not to be confused with Bill Buckner. And the year they were drafted, Billy Butler was not to be confused with Billy Buckner. We got those guys confused because they were taken in the same draft, I think only about a round or 2 apart.
I'm confused already.
Two hits tonight for Billy. So he has picked up in this series where he left off last year. He hit over 400 against the Mariners. And in this series, he is 3 out of 6. But now he has to fight out of a no balls 2 strike count. Line over Rodriguez and into right field. So now the Royals have scored in 5 of 6 innings as Escobar comes down from third and the Royals lead 6-1.
You know, we can talk about Billy's swing forever, and forever we'll be saying the same thing. It's just a perfect swing, nice quiet body, quick hands, hit the ball where it's pitched. He scorched this ball. You know what's so neat about going through the clubhouse and on the field with these guys right now? It's nice to everybody you walk by say, "Hey, good game last night." No, good game last night. You know, you don't have that feeling that you had last year where you had so many guys struggling.
And now Jeff Francoeur, who is 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Francoeur and Billy Butler subjects in tonight's sprint, you call it. Who will lead the Royals in RBIs this year? Thank you for voting. 52% going with Billy Butler, followed by Alex Gordon at 29%. At the moment, it's Francoeur with 11. Billy is forced out at second base. The Royals add another run, and at the end of 6, they lead by 5. baseball's color barrier. Pepsi Max is proud to be the official drink of the Royals and the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. Look for these special edition Frank White Pepsi Max cans at your neighborhood Hy-Vee. On Saturday, April the 30th, Frank will be at Hy-Vee in Gladstone from 11 a.m. to noon. He'll share a Pepsi Max with you. So stop by and say hi to Frank and get a free can of Pepsi Max. Get you a can of Frank.
Gets better all the time. Nutritious, no calories.
Any kind of an aftertaste or
just a little bit.
Okay.
Only because I'm just not used to drinking no calorie. You know, I'm always give me the calorie stuff. It tastes better. But it has a great taste to it.
Jack Cust in the first inning drove in the Mariners run with a force out. So Seattle actually had a 1-0 lead after a half inning. But the Royals have scored in the first, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth innings. And Luke Hochevar has retired the last 13 Mariners. And over a little longer stretch, he has retired 17 of the last 18. 2 balls and 1 strike on Cust. Luke has walked 2, none since the second inning, and he has struck out 3, which is not a big number for him, but that's a good number tonight, making sure to keep the defense busy on a cold, wet night. And there's a ground ball right to Chris Getz, and it's 14 in a row retired by Hochevar. Well, you know, Royals fans, you can enjoy the game from a unique view at Rivals Sports Bar. Located in the outfield just beyond the stadium's signature fountains, you'll enjoy one-of-a-kind seating with drinks and food on deck. And remember, if you come out early or late, you can see Joel, Split, and Monty during Royals Live. For more information, visit royals.com/rivals. Information on how you can reserve your table at the Kauffman Stadium Sports Bar Rivals. That's a popular place tonight. It is not cold, windy, and wet in there. Hey, look at that big picture of Frank.
Wow, I gotta take a tour. Nice
So
hair.
it was your haircut that Coco Crisp was copying yesterday.
I'm fairly close. That's about as big as I had it.
Yeah. That's got some pretty good volume to it there, Frank. Adam Kennedy is 0 for 3 with a fly out to left field.
Luke is doing a good job just really spotting his pitch. His ball was actually supposed to be on the outer half, but this one moved in on the plate just a little bit. But, you know, right in, actually it's moved in the middle of the plate. Just got away with that one. But when you're on, you're on.
And he's on. Luke has retired 15 in a row. And he throws a strike to Miguel Olivo, who is 0 for his last 23. So 1 hit given up by Luke in 6 2/3 innings. That was pitch number 96 thrown by him. Not only trying to win back-to-back starts, but go 7 innings in back-to-back starts. 2-1.
But starts like these really help your bullpen. The fewer outs you give your bullpen to have to get, the stronger they're going to stay and the more successful they're going to be.
Boy, that is jammed right there.
Wow.
You could tell right there that Miguel Olivo, I mean, there's nothing he can do with that pitch, and that sums up an 0 for 23 right there when you're swinging at pitches like that.
Well, he just not seeing the ball at all. This ball almost stuck to the bat. It just didn't go anywhere. Once it came off his bat, just stayed right out in front of the plate, and he swung it like it was going to be a strikeout in the middle of the plate. So that's usually what happens when you're in a slump. You swing at the ball and you take the strikes.
Luke Hochevar's retired 16 in a row. Royals lead by 5. Luke Hochaver, so that means he'll be done after 7 innings. 7 excellent innings, giving up 1 hit and none since the first batter he faced. So he finishes his outing retiring 16 in a row and 20 out of 21. Here's the Sonic game summary. Jeff Francoeur has his first 3-hit game with the Royals. He has driven in 3 runs. Luke Hochaver's great performance in 7 innings, and Billy Butler has 3 hits and he has driven in a run. And as the designated hitter, Billy has spent a lot of time on the bench, and now that Luke is out, Billy can break down Luke's performance and tell him what he saw tonight. You know, I say that jokingly, but it'll be interesting if Billy ends up being a longtime designated hitter in the American League 5-10 years from now. Find out what he has picked up about pitching just by being in the dugout. I remember somebody once said that they thought Greg Maddux would be a good hitting coach, and the interviewer corrected him and said, "We mean pitching coach, right?" And I think it was Don Baylor, who was hitting coach for the Braves for a long time. I could be wrong. And Don Baylor said, "No, hitting coach, when he's not pitching, he studies hitters." And he would sit with Don Baylor and he would bring things up to Don Baylor about hitting tendencies that he saw that sometimes the hitting coach didn't see.
Well, you're right. Billy is very smart when it comes to figuring out pitches. He never forgets the pattern. He knows how to sit on pitches at this young age. And the only guy that I would probably compare Baylor to in saying what he said is Hal McRae. The pitchers used to go sit by him all the time and try to pick his brain about what do hitters think in this situation versus that situation. So that does come with maturity, but I think Billy is well on his way in that area.
Kevin Seitzer will tell you that he's never been around somebody like Billy who has the recall that he has. I mean, he will remember at bats against big league pitchers from 3 years ago during spring training.
And that was even in Double-A. I mean, he remembered pitchers all the time. I mean, if they were with another team, he saw them in A-ball, and I mean, he was just that good.
Pauly picks up a wet baseball and almost like a shot put gets it over to first base. So Mike Aviles is 1 for 4. David Pauly's been in there since the final out of the 5th. Royals scored 5 of the 6 runs against Eric Bedard and scored against Pauly in the 6th. And now Mitch Meyer. At the knees for strike 1. Mitch starts for the first time this year, and this is the Royals' 13th game. He has more at-bats, or plate appearances, I should say, tonight than he did in the first 12 games combined. One ball, 2 strikes. Ned Yost has said that he's going to get Mitch Meyer and Gerard Dyson into the weekend games, with this being the first of the weekend games. Tomorrow, Dyson is expected to play as a starter, and also on Sunday. 2-2. There's Gerard getting ready for a noon game tomorrow, 12:10. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
It really takes patience to do what those 2 guys are doing. Just, in the DH system, it's hard to get guys off the bench sometimes, especially when everybody's healthy and everybody's playing well. And when you're winning, it's a lot easier to prepare, because if you're losing, you're saying, when am I going to play? When am I going to play? But as long as the guys are playing well and winning ball games, everybody's happy and everybody's just doing what they have to do, waiting on the opportunity to play.
Mitch walks for the 2nd time. So no 1-2-3 inning for David Pauly. And that'll bring up Matt Trainer, who has walked. He has hit his 2nd home run of the year, and he is struck out. 1-0. And now Levo wants to go out and talk to David Pauly. The Mariners had a big loss to their family during the offseason. Dave Niehaus, their original broadcaster from 1977, died suddenly of a heart attack. And I don't know, outside of maybe Vin Scully in Los Angeles, if there was, and still is, even now that he's gone, a bigger broadcaster in his particular market than Dave Niehaus. And underneath the Dave patch it says "My oh my," which was his trademark call. David Pauly makes a difficult play. Nice stretch from Adam Kennedy, and that's all for the Royals in the 7th. Greatness moment, and he was great.
He was great, Ryan. An outstanding performance by Luke tonight. 1 hit, 1 run. And one, no free passes, just a couple walks, 4 strikeouts. He got a good assortment of all speed, and then he brought his fastball back tonight.
And Luke retired the last 16 hitters that he faced, and 20 of the last 21. So he's on his way to his 2nd win of the year. Chevy called to the bullpen, and it's Blake Wood who was called up yesterday after Robinson Tejeda was placed on the disabled list, and now Blake is telling Matt Trainer what he throws. Blake had already been sent out to minor league camp when Matt Trainer was acquired at the end of spring training, so they're hooking up for the first time. Those are Blake's numbers from last year. And as Tejeda sits there on the bench, this is the 2nd time that Blake Wood has replaced Robinson Tejeda. Last year, Tejeda didn't go on the DL, but when Blake Wood was called up, he replaced Tejeda as the 8th inning setup man for Joakim Soria. And he was off and running in his first 10 outings last year after Tejeda had struggled. Blake Wood's ERA was 0.84. After that, Blake tinkered with his mechanics a bit as the league began to run on him. And in his final 19 appearances, his ERA was a little bit over 10. But Royals and Blake feel that that is ironed out, and he was mowing down the Pacific Coast League before he was called up.
Well, I talked to him, Ryan, and you're right on that. That controlling the running game was a big key to him being successful up here. So he had to learn how to be quicker to the plate. He wanted to get in that 1-3 range and still have the same command of his pitches. And also, he said, I can throw the ball 98, but my working range is probably going to be 95 to 96. And if he can stay in there and throw strikes, then he should be effective. Saunders bloops it to the left side, and Escobar makes a nice play. It was
what they call a snow cone for a moment. It was starting to spill out of his glove, but he was able to hang on to it. One away.
I mean, that's a really tough play. I mean, this ball is being cued away from him.
Let's call that tonight's defensive play of the game, brought to you by the Home Depot, doing more on defense.
When this ball is slicing away from him, he's stretched out as far as he can go right here. The ball's starting to sink from that left-handed bat. And he just hand-eye coordination all the way into the glove. Outstanding play.
And there's the snow cone, as they say. Glove with the ball in it. Looks like you've got a snow cone in there. Ball is halfway in the glove and halfway out.
You're right about that. You know, another adjustment that Blake Wood had to make was his hands. You know, in the past, he felt like he had to have his hands at his waist and then bring them all the way up to the maximum, get the maximum power from his arm. But now he raised his arm higher, and so now he doesn't have to go as far, and that allows him to be quicker to home plate.
Left center field, and Mitch Meyer won't get there. It skips by him and all the way to the wall. And that is the Mariners' first hit since the first inning.
And Blake Wood just comes right after him with the fastball and is out over the plate. Luis Rodriguez really stayed behind it and drove it into left center field. And you can see Mitch, the ball's coming back to him, but not quite fast enough, and wasn't able to cut this ball off.
Second double for Luis Rodriguez. And now Brendan Ryan, who has grounded out twice. Now, Frank, you said in describing Blake Wood and speeding up his motion coming to the plate, 1-3. That's 1.3 seconds, right?
1.3 seconds.
His first movement until the ball is either caught by the catcher or the hitter makes contact with it.
Right, and he said that's what they want. That's where they wanted him to get to. Now, whether or not he's going to be consistently there, it's hard to say. Because 1-3 for a guy that size without a real legitimate slide step, it's going to be kind of difficult.
I've got my stopwatch out. I kind of feel like a coach here. I've got my stopwatch.
Well, I'd probably just look from the naked eye. I'd say about 1-4.
I've had a varying numbers, but I've had a 1.58 and a 1.7. That was with nobody on base. This will be a 1.56. Of course, he's probably not concerned too much with the runner at second base stealing third with one out in a 5-run game.
Well, that ball's got some movement on it. You can tell by the reaction of the hitter. It starts out over the middle of the plate, and all of a sudden, at the last minute, late movement, down and in.
1.63.
That's
my watch, though.
Oh, you going first move?
First movement until the ball gets through the zone.
Yeah, if it's 1-6, then that's Steel City from second base.
Up the middle, cut off by Escobar. So Brendan Ryan is the second out. Rodriguez moves up to third base. Game 3 is tomorrow. It's a 12:10 game. Those of you that are used to a 6:10 Saturday game, not tomorrow, it's 12:10. And Felix Hernandez, last year's Cy Young winner, going up against Sean O'Sullivan, making his first start. Royals Live begins at 11:30. Last chance perhaps for Ichiro Suzuki to establish a new Kauffman Stadium record. A base hit here, and that would be 10 straight multi-hit games in this ballpark. Right now he has 9 in a row, tied with George Brett, who had 9 straight in 1979. 2-0. Suzuki doubled to begin the game, came around to score in the first, and the Mariners didn't get their next hit until this inning. Over third, and there's the record. So Ichiro Suzuki with 10 consecutive multi-hit games here at Kauffman Stadium. The umpires took the ball and threw it off the field, but they threw it to the Royals dugout. And the Royals bat boy picked it up and handed it off to a fan in the crown seats.
Don't know what they don't know what they're messing with, do they?
So it's 6-2. And strike one to Sean Figgins. How about this for domination against one team? Do you know in his career Ichiro Suzuki has more multi-hit games than he does one-hit or no-hit games combined?
Wow.
Think about that. And we're talking about a guy who's been playing against the Royals now for this his 11th season. So that's a lot of at-bats. More multi-hit games than one-hit or no-hit games combined. That's into right field, and Suzuki will go first to third. Sean Figgins is 1 for 4. And now the tying run is on deck. So somebody told second base umpire Brian Runge, save that ball because he wanted it. And he threw it off to the Royals side, not the Mariners side. And the Royals ball boy doing what he's supposed to do. He runs it over to his station on the right. You can't see him right now. And that's the fan that ended up with that commemorative baseball. Or actually not commemorative, that's the record-breaking baseball.
I'm surprised someone wasn't on top of that.
And Suzuki has great appreciation of the players that came before him. So I would imagine that would be meaningful. I mean, he knows who George Brett is. He knows George Brett's in the Hall of Fame, has more than 3,000 hits, and he knows how big George is in this city. A strike to Milton Bradley. Earlier this year, Ichiro Suzuki became the all-time hit leader for the Mariners, passing Edgar Martinez. On the ground to Escobar. He throws to first. That's in time. So the Mariners get one, and we go to the bottom of the 8th. The Royals lead is 4. Indians are 9-4. That's where the Royals hope they're headed tonight. Boston is down again. They are 2-9. Jose Bautista putting the Blue Jays ahead in that one. Tampa Bay has defeated Minnesota, so the Twins drop to 4-9. Tampa Bay starting to warm up. The Angels are in front of the White Sox in Chicago, and Detroit and Oakland are just getting underway out on the West Coast. Aaron Laffey, the former Indian, now pitching for Seattle. He comes on in the bottom of the 8th inning, acquired late in spring training. He has made 3 appearances all out of the bullpen. The Royals have seen him as a reliever and as a starter. David Pauly gave up 1 run in 2 1/3 innings. Eric Bedard gave up 5 in 4 2/3. One of those runs was unearned. Royals have come to the plate 7 times tonight, and they have scored in 5 of 7 innings. Alcides Escobar is 1 out of 3. Last at bat, Alcides singled. He stole second base, and Billy Butler got him home with a single. Chris Getz on deck, and then Melky Cabrera. Stroke to left field, and Bradley is there to haul it in. Let's get a preview of Boulevard Royals Live and find Joel Goldberg.
Well, should have a good time out at Rivals. Been a good crowd out there tonight with the cold weather. When this game is over, Paul Splittorff and I will be talking about the first one-hit start of Luke Hochevar's career. We'll break down his night, talk about the Royals bunching hits again. Another nice night at the plate for them. Reaction from Ned Yost and the Royals, and see who did well on the Hot Watch. It's a good night for all of us. We shall see, guys.
All right, thanks, Joel. A strike to Chris Getz, who is 0 for 3. Although he began the bottom of the first inning with a walk and came around to score. Doesn't seem like a big play now because it's 6-2 and we're in the bottom of the 8th. But the Royals once again, and they've done this so often this year, the opponent scores, the Royals come right back and score. So they tied the game at 1 in the first, and then 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and off they go.
That's one of the things you want to do when you go out and score. You want to come back out and put a 0 up that next inning and give your offense a chance to come back and do some things for you. But if you keep getting it and giving it back, that's hard on the defense also, especially on a cold, wet night like tonight.
Figgins comes into the grass, and Chris Getz is out, 2 away. Remember, you can take your group out here to Kauffman Stadium, and you will save big in doing so. Groups of 20 or more get a significant discount compared to single game ticket prices. And for those tickets, call 816-504-4040 or visit royals.com/group. Melky is 0 for 4. Quick turnaround with the 12-10 game tomorrow, and it's Felix Hernandez and Sean O'Sullivan. Did you read Sean's comments when he heard he was going into the rotation? His wife had read about it online, and Sean asked her if she would look up what the pitching matchup would be that night when he made his first start, and she said, some guy named Felix. And Sean's response was, that's not just some guy. That is, as they refer to him in Seattle, King Felix.
Oh, my goodness. But the Royals, they do put the ball. They played well against him in Seattle last year when they had that matchup with Greinke. That was a very good game to be a part of.
Rodriguez goes to the middle, and we go to the 9th inning. Royals are in front 6-2.
Played. It's a 2-run homer in the left field seats. And then he goes back with a nice swing with a line drive over second base. So he made some nice adjustments, come in hitting 294. Now he's over 300. Got to be feeling good about tonight.
It'll be Tim Collins to try and close out the game with Jack Cust, Adam Kennedy, and Miguel Olivo coming up. After that, Michael Saunders, so a chance to face some left-hand batters. Tim Collins still has not allowed an earned run. He has pitched in a combined 7 innings over 6 games. He has only allowed 3 base runners, all walks. Or excuse me, 3 walks and 5 hits, so 8 base runners in 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, and the league is only hitting .208 against Collins. We were telling you yesterday, and I know Joel spent some time on this in Royals Live, that Bob McClure actually has the Royals rookie record for consecutive scoreless appearances to begin a career. He was not aware of that. We informed him of that when we got on the plane Wednesday afternoon flying back from Minnesota, and he was telling me a little bit more about that streak earlier today as Jack Cust takes a walk. Mac says he really doesn't remember many of those starts. He does remember his big league debut. And then he said he didn't pitch for 3 days. And then Doug Bird was starting, and he got injured in the 2nd inning. And Bob McClure, in his 2nd major league appearance, came on in the 2nd inning. He finished the 2nd. He pitched the 3rd. He pitched the 4th. He pitched the 5th. He pitched the 6th. He pitched the 7th. He pitched the 8th. And got 1 out in the 9th and had not allowed a hit. That was going to be a combined no-hitter. Doug Bird and Bob McClure in his 2nd major league appearance. 1 out in the 9th inning. Royce Smalley hit a ground ball base hit into center field. And at that point, Whitey Herzog said that's enough for a young guy just making his 2nd appearance. And Mac remembers, and that was the mentality those days, that he didn't want to come out of the game.
No, they didn't want to come out in those days. You give me the ball, it's my ball. But it's amazing how you ask guys who played certain questions and they have no clue. You ask me all the time.
I told him that. I said, we try and remind Frank of all the things that he's done, and he doesn't remember. And Mac is about as easygoing and laid back as anyone you're going to meet. He was truthfully saying, I don't remember much about that streak. He was blown away that was the Royals record, but he did remember that particular game.
The sequence, yeah.
All those innings of relief coming in the second. He wasn't expecting to pitch, and he took a combined no-hitter into the ninth.
I mean, we used to get on guys who kept track of their stats. We just thought they were more self-centered guys, and so we gave those guys a lot of grief. Another deep count by Tim Collins here.
Into the corner and foul. Well, we've been saying this since spring training that Tim Collins is going to have quite a following here if he continues to pitch the way he does, and because he is just an everyman type of big league pitcher, and his number is available on a t-shirt now in the Royals team store.
Oh, wow.
And we'll expect to see a lot of those all throughout Kauffman Stadium. Aaron Crow's as well. Back-to-back walks. So that means the tying run is on deck, which means it is a save situation. So we'll see if Ned Yost comes out with some words of encouragement or if he brings the hook with him. It's the hook. Joakim Soria comes on with 2 on in the ninth. Man standing on the field and shaking hands, and tonight he walks 2 left-hand batters, and now it is a save situation, and it's Joakim Soria to face Miguel Olivo with Jack Cust at second base and Adam Kennedy at first. And Olivo jumps on the first pitch. Trainer runs to the screen and runs out of room. The good news in facing Miguel Olivo is that he is 0 for 3 tonight and 0 for his last 24. The bad news is that Olivo is 0 for his last 24.
Well, he's a fastball hitter. It's just a matter of whether he's going to swing at a strike or a ball.
I mean, you figure this thing isn't going to go on much longer. 1 ball, 1 strike. This is the second time Miguel has been with Seattle. He was part of a big trade after making his big league debut with the White Sox. Soon after that, was traded to the Mariners in a deal that sent Freddie Garcia to Chicago. And now Soria throws it by Trainer. The runners will move up, and no opportunity now for a ground ball and a double play. That is a wild pitch.
So we take a look at it here, Ryan. He just buried this ball down to the outside. Trainer had no chance to move. He threw it right by him, almost like a cross-up almost.
A fastball by him. Olivo has caught Soria. He has never faced Soria, at least not in a regular season game. Trainer blocks this one. So 3 balls, 2 strikes. Soria trying to keep the tying run on deck. Luke Hochevar went 7, gave up 1 hit and 1 run. Blake Wood gave up a run in his inning, and Tim Collins, opening the 9th, walked 2 batters and was removed for Soria. Olivo went around. He wants Tim McClellan to check with the first base umpire. Boy, is that a break for the Royals? That wasn't even close to being a strike. The Mariners feel like they should have the bases loaded and nobody out.
Well, we know that when you get ahead of Olivo, you can throw the ball down and away. But you're right, Ryan. This pitch is almost in the other batter's box, and he chases this pitch. And Sawyer is out there with 3 of the 5 pitches are out there. And that's what you call guessing, looking for the fastball, just guessing one zone and not covering the plate.
Almost like he decided he was going to swing regardless before the pitch was even thrown.
Right.
So that keeps the tying run on deck, and now Soria throws a strike to Michael Saunders. Saunders has faced Soria once before tonight, and he struck out. Cust at third, Kennedy at second.
Talked to Joaquin before the game, and he said, "Boy, I'm sure we're glad when it gets hot." I said, "Well, what's warm to you?" He said, "I'll tell you, anything under 50 is cold."
2-1. Growing up in Mexico, this would be an extremely cold day. The rule was changed last year that pitchers are allowed to blow hot air into their hands when they're on the dirt, no matter what. Prior to last year, they had to get permission from the umpire, and umpires would usually grant that on a cold day. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And just because it's habit, we saw pitchers last year and even this year that they would leave the dirt to blow air into their hands, because prior to that, if you didn't get permission, that was a ball, an automatic ball in the count to the hitter.
Yeah, I think that was a good rule change. I really like that. Speeds the game up a little bit.
Sliced up the left field line, and Mitch Meyer has it drop in front of him. So the Mariners get 1 run to the plate. It is 6-3, and that means the tying run will come to the plate. So that's the first earned run charged to Tim Collins in his big league career. By the way, the reason why pitchers were not allowed to blow into their hands is there were some less than honest pitchers who would blow something more than hot air into their hand, which then they would transfer to the baseball and would create some illegal movement.
Well, I heard you mention the other day you can blow, but you have to wipe
That's if you go straight to your mouth.
Straight to the mouth.
If fingers go to the mouth, you have to go from the mouth to the pant leg or somewhere else to dry off the excess moisture, but you cannot go on the dirt from the mouth directly to the ball.
So they're assuming you can blow it in your hand without transferring any moisture.
Assuming,
yes.
1-1 on Rodriguez.
Sorry, it really looks like his pitch. I mean, he looks like he's not really overpowering with his fastball, but for some reason, he gets a lot of swing and misses on his fastball and a lot of near ticks on his fastball. Just must have a lot of late life right at the end there.
Frank, I thought the same thing ever since he became a Royal. I mean, some of the swings, some of the reactions you get on his fastball, and we're so in tune to looking at the radar gun that you expect to look up and see 94, 95, 96. Instead, you see 90, 91, 92.
Yeah, it must be the deception or the easy delivery that he has.
3 balls, 1 strike. Every opportunity he gets, Joaquim is blowing that hot air into his hand. So you would assume that his lack of control here has to do with cold hand. He just doesn't have the precision.
He usually has precision on the outside corner, especially. But it may be a little harder tonight to throw a breaking ball, which is a curveball of his. Might be a little more difficult if his fingers are cold.
Bases are loaded with 1 out. So the tying run will go to first base. The potential go-ahead run is coming to the plate. And the scheduled hitter is Brendan Ryan, but he has been called back for, I believe, Justin Smoke. It's tough to tell tonight. Everybody is wearing number 42 to honor Jackie Robinson. So Justin Smoke with the bases loaded and 1 out. Royals have walked 3 in the inning.
Let's say the Mariners have scored 59% of their runs after the 7th inning. So they've scored 26 of their 44 runs after the 7th inning.
First time that Soria and Justin Smoke have hooked up. And it comes with the bases loaded, 1 out in the 9th. And that is down, ball 1. Justin Smoke was the starter at first base last night and was 1 out of 4. The most memorable thing he did at the plate was lead off the 2nd inning. And you might remember Melky Cabrera's great catch on his line drive and then went crashing into the wall. 2 balls, 1 strike. The Seattle Mariners in innings 2 through 7 had 1 base runner. They only had 2 base runners in the first. 3-1. And now Aaron Crow is going to warm up behind Joaquim Soria. So 1 base runner innings 2 through 7. And then a run on 3 hits in the 8th. And now a run and 4 base runners in the 9th. Not only is Aaron Crow warming up, he's warming up quickly. 3-2. Joaquim may have said to heck with it with that last pitch. That was his hardest pitch of the inning, 93 miles an hour.
Well, they stayed straight with his fastball, right? He hadn't thrown any curveballs at all. That might be an indication that fingertips may be a little cold.
Now at 94 miles an hour. We stay at 3-2.
Just getting loose.
Justin Smoke is a switch hitter. He has power to all fields. He hit his first home run as a Mariner 2 games ago in Seattle, and he hit it as a left-hand hitter to the opposite field. Another walk. Now the tying run is in scoring position, and the go-ahead run is at first.
Well, he's trying to stay away with his fastball, get a little run on it, and try to get smoked to chase. But I tell you what, that is way too close to take right there. I mean, that's a pitch that a pitcher would normally get.
That is an old school strike zone right there. That is according to the rule book and according to what baseball wants the umpires to call. A pitch. My problem with a pitch like that being called a ball, and this is for either side, is that if Justin Smoak hits that ball out of the ballpark, we're going to go on and on about how Soria left the ball up.
Right.
So Ichiro Suzuki comes to the plate with the tying run at second base. And now Jack Wilson is going to run at first base for Justin Smoak.
Yeah, Joaquin just doesn't look comfortable out there. He just looks like he's just cold right from the beginning, and really just stayed with his fastball. Hasn't utilized any of his other pitches in this inning so far.
1 ball, 1 strike on Suzuki. He has 2 hits tonight, and his second hit in the 8th inning was a noteworthy one. That gives him 10 consecutive multi-hit games at Kauffman Stadium, and that is a stadium record. He had been tied with George Brett, who had 9 in a row in 1979. Well, he's not calling the high strike, but he's calling the low strike.
Well, you kind of have to wait on Tim McClellan. He doesn't quite give you that strike call right away. He says it, and then his arm comes up a little bit later.
Ichiro Suzuki is 0 for 4 against Soria. There's the rainbow curve. Will go to second for the force. Another run scores, and now it is a 1-run game. So the tying run is at third base, but now the go-ahead run is way over at first. So it comes down to Soria and Sean Figgins. 2 of the runs are charged to Tim Collins, who opened the inning by walking Jack Cust and Adam Kennedy. They have both come around to score. Soria has given up an RBI single and 2 walks. Sean Figgins tonight is 1 for 4. Line and caught at third. So as the rain stops, Mike Avila's play at third keeps the sky from falling on the Royals in the 9th inning.
Well, were you playing in for the bunch? You never know, but Mike said, I'll tell you what, that was a trouble ball if it gets past Mike Avilas right there, and you can see him squeezing that for dear life.
So the Royals hang on. They appear to be running away with this one, taking a 6-1 lead into the 8th inning, but Seattle with 1 in the 8th and 3 in the 9th. But the Royals hang on, and they've won the first 2 games of the series, winning tonight 6-5. Let's go down to the field, and here's Joel.
All right, thank you very much. As we are down in the dugout right now, joined by Jeff Francoeur. Took a little while on a miserable night, but bottom line, you guys come out with the win. First off, how miserable was it out there?
It was brutal. I haven't done one of these in a long time, probably since 05 or 06 with Landon and old RFK. But you know, the way Soria came out and closed it out was huge. You know, I can't imagine how tough it was for him to come in freezing cold like that. He finally found his groove there the last couple batters, and it's a big win.
I don't know what the key is to staying warm on a night like tonight for a Georgia boy like yourself, if it was the ski mask or what you had going on, but you looked fine at the plate.
I got my wife to send this over to Hochaver's house at about 4 this afternoon before he came because I knew I was going to need it, so it worked out nice.
All right, so how do you block all that out? I mean, wind, rain, cold. Is it more mental than anything?
Yeah, it's tough. You got to get in here. You got to get by the heaters. You got to stay warm. I thought we did a great job of putting up some good at-bats tonight. And, at the end, we battled through. We made it a little more difficult, but a win's a win. And tonight in this weather, we'll take it.
Seems like you guys have been able to find a way, however it is. Good pitching, different guys hitting, rain, shine, home, road.
Hoach pitched awesome tonight. I mean, one hitter through 7 innings. Just pounding the strike zone with those guys. Can't say enough about, after opening day, first 2 starts, I know he wasn't real pleased with. The last 2 he's been dominant.
Guys can get superstitious sometimes. You're not going to wear that big ski mask again, are you?
No, I'm going to get in the hot tub right now.
Go warm up. Good job.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, that is Frenchie, Jeff Francoeur, 3 RBIs on the night. Let's go back upstairs to you guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. So